Alright, son, now I got yours. Your 620. We were out this weekend, you know, you were shooting those 38 specials. Well, them things were light loads, wasn't they? Revolvers are much more difficult to clean than pistols are, simply because you have all the exposed areas where gases blow out everywhere, up front, in the back, even escapes along the back of the cylinder and stuff like that. So basically, so you can get started, I guess you can just wipe it down, get some of the excess stuff that's off of it. But areas that we'll be cleaning, other than the bore and everything, you'll see how dirty it is right along there on the face of your cylinder, up in here in the cone of the barrel, even the receiver face of it right here is really dirty as well. So you'll need good materials, you need some good solvent, lubricants, proper brushes, you'll need patches, and a little brush to scrub with right there. I will use a little light number 4/0 steel wool and some basically this metal conditioner right here. I'll get a lot of that carbon off right there just with that, and because it sort of penetrates in there and loosens it up, and that really helps in cleaning up this area right here as well. So while that's said, I'm gonna go ahead and just put a little dab on it right there to get the juices flowing here. Put a little bit around here, on around in here, and let that just start working in right there. I'm gonna put a little bit along the face of the cylinder. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and take this cylinder out on this one right here. It's this screw right here on the side of this your revolver. Always use proper tools to take this out. I want you to look at the head of this screwdriver right here. That's a gunsmith screwdriver right there. It's a slotted type. I have multiple ones over here, but get the one that fits properly into that right there. You want it to fit in there good and snug. You don't want it to be loose. And then you just turn it. Now this spring, this screw here, it's got a plunger on the inside of it. It's basically spring loaded right there. So you'll take it out, and once you get it out, you notice when I said it's got a plunger on it, you can push it in right there. You can clean that up right there, but put it in a proper place where it will not get lost. And I'm gonna put it down in that area right there. It comes with a little Loctite on it, so you can put a little bit more on it when you put it back in. And basically now all you do is slide your cylinder and crane out, and then you can your crane off of the cylinder. I'm not going to go any much further with this right here, but you basically, to take this off, you would go just the opposite. I believe you turn this to the right, but I don't want to hang up the threads or anything on it, so I'm just going to leave it right here. That's all I need to get access into there. So I'm going to start letting this solvent work its way in there while I clean the rest of the firearm, and let it go to work. And then I'm going to set it over here out of the way. I'll put a little bit on your crane, and I'll set it out of the way for right now. Alright, I'm going to start on your barrel. I'm going to put the proper size brush on the rod, and since how this is a revolver, I'm going to be using the muzzle protector right here. A revolver, you don't have much access from the back, so I always like to clean guns from the back going forward. But this one, you'll need the muzzle protector on it because you're going to be working from the front, and you'll just sort of scrub it out. I need to put some detents on it. This is a really good solvent right there. It's very strong. You smell the ammonia in it and everything. So make sure when you're working with it right there, you got a pad that you can work on. so your mother doesn't get so upset. You working on the kitchen table, and when it comes time to clean the gun, this stuff works really good. And I'll start scrubbing on the rest of the gun while I let some of that Deaton sit in there as well. I'll put a little bit on my brush, and I'll work the back of the receiver over here, back of the frame, receiver, whatever you want to call it. With those light loads, it blows, a lot of the gases blow around the cases and come out the back. I even seen a lot of factory heavy loads do that. But you'll just basically scrub any of the dirty spots on it. Up in here where it gets good and dirty. And then start working on your muzzle cone right here. I mean, not your muzzle cone, but your barrel cone. And you'll see how that, I find that mil-spec stuff, metal conditioner, really works good on getting this carbon out around your cone over here. Put a little bit more on it. I'm going to let it set a little bit. It does nothing for the function of the gun to have that area clean that's around the frame and that area. It does do good to have the face of it clean, but it just doesn't look good. Okay, like I said, Revolver's pretty dirty animals right there, especially certain powders that you use are not clean but are really good for light loads like we were shooting, and where you can almost see the bullet going to the target and all. And if you want, you can take a little bit of your 4/0 steel wool and just buff around the area. Try to stay off the cone itself. You don't want to damage any of the rifling at the rear. And it cleans up really good. You might want to get another brush in there where you can get in between in that area. Let's see here, let me get that. And you see how well it starts to clean that Militech 1. It's basically a metal conditioner. It soaks into the metal and everything, so it does a really good job at cleaning the face of these things right here. So just work it as hard as you want and get it as clean as you want right there, but make sure all your surfaces that are going to be like bearing surfaces are good and clean for your carbon, where it does not cause any friction or hindrance of you tilting your cylinder rotating and everything. Let's see, I'm going to clean the yoke right here. This is something, you don't have to do this every time right here, but your yoke will build up a little carbon right there, where this right here would be the face of the cylinder, where the blast would be coming through. You'll notice it's got a lot of debris in there, and so you'll need to clean that. You don't have to clean that every time, but you'll take this out probably about every 2 or 3 times you take it out to the range and clean this area right here too. And basically all you do is just get your brush and scrub the excess carbon off of it, and then you'll just lubricate this with I use this right here. It's a 6-hour protector, lubricant protector. It sort of conditions the metal too. Not quite as strong as the Militech stuff, but it does a really good job. You'll clean out into this area. Basically all you need there is a Q-tip just to scrub it out, and then I'm going to put a little bit of the conditioner in there. It's not really exposed to the carbon and all, but this part of your cylinder slides in that. So, and the smoother that is, the better it is. I'll go ahead and lube the outside. Like, I don't get too crazy cleaning this right here. It's just, you know, it's not much exposed. I heavily lubricate it right there, and let's see, and then I'll just do a quick wipe down of it. And you got a clean yoke right there. So I'm going to set that to the side real quick, and I'm going to start working on the cylinder here. I'll start, where's that steel wool? I'm going to put some of this mil spec stuff, Militech on it, a little 4/0 steel wool, and I'll just start buffing it. It won't damage the metal, and you see how easy it starts coming off right there versus the other area right there. So it works really good, and so you just go through there and scrub it. Not much pressure, you know, just sort of. And if you notice the cylinder, the way it's machined around like this. You got little lines that go through there. Sort of scrub along the lines instead of against them, and it actually works better that way. And it just comes right on off. All right. Scrub, scrub, scrub. And scrub a little bit more. Take your brush and get in around there. In that corners. Alright, I got most of it off. Let me wipe it off and show you just how quick that was to clean. I could actually do a little bit better on it, but that's fine. It's really good and shiny. You can get a little closer. You got more time. I'm sort of limited on time here on this video. So now I'm gonna get some more of this Deaton's. I'm gonna put in each of the cylinders, and I'm going to start scrubbing it out from the rear going forward. Because there's a shoulder inside each one of these, and you were shooting 38 specials this weekend, so the 38 specials are 1/8 of an inch shorter than the 357. So in other words, the bullet is not quite laying on that shoulder, and you can get a little carbon buildup around that area. And if you shoot a bunch of 38s in there on a 357 cylinder, that carbon can build up, and then you try to slide a 357 up in there, and you about have to push it in there sometimes because that carbon has built up. This Deaton's is really good. I should have showed y'all what it looked like before I started, but see how nasty revolvers are. You know. But I should have showed you what those cylinders looked like in there before I started, but they're starting to clean up really good now. And I'll do like I would the bore. I'll use a wet and dry patches too. And I'm going to start on the bore. Now I use little cotton cloths that I cut out. I'm cheap, you know, but hey, I'll get over it. So we all. I don't go and buy the patches. They're basically made out of cotton, and that's what I'm using. I'm using pillowcases, old pillowcases, and t-shirts. And some of you folks might want to use your underwear. I don't care. As long as it's cotton, it works really good. All I got in here, I left that Deaton's in there, and look at this. That stuff is good. And a little trick, like I mentioned earlier on this, you can lay something light colored right there and look at the bore. Oh man, that bore is pretty. Now this one right here is a hammer forged bore on it, where my 686 and my 629 are, they're button rifled. This one has a three-piece, actually a two-piece bore on it right there. You have a shroud, and then you have a separate barrel that's actually stressed into place right there. I think it's three pieces. It's like a barrel nut right here, and it basically, you thread the barrel in there through the shroud, and then you screw this on, and it stretches the barrel, and it's really, really a stiff barrel, and this is a very accurate revolver, but very nice, and it's lightweight too, for, you know, if this was like solid right through here. But this is a really neat firearm, but it's got a real pretty bore on it right there, polygonal rifling in it. I don't know if you can see it right there, but it's good and shiny. I hadn't even run dry patches through it or anything yet, and it's just as shiny as it can be. I'm gonna run some dry patches through there. There's always a little bit more left in there. Just start working with it a little bit more. Pick it up and go in there. And I shot nothing but lead bullets in there too, and I'm gonna take another look. There is no lead buildup at all. Yeah, it's amazing how slick this barrel is on this thing. I'm gonna run another wet patch through there. I'll have a little bit more difficult time cleaning that 686 than I will this thing. And what I'll do, I'll wind up leaving, since I don't carry, these are not carry guns, these are just target guns, I'll leave a little bit of the deepens in the barrel while it's stored. And before I go out and shoot it again, I will run a dry patch through there and make sure I get all the excess lubricant out and any remaining carbon that was in there. So that's pretty much all you have to do to clean this right here. And so, drop everything. It's starting to come out really clean. Run it again. Yeah, it's looking good now. It's looking really good. Just pretty much clean cloth now. So the barrel's good. We're good on that. Some little areas around here that need cleaning. Now I'm going to concentrate on the cylinder again. Alright, I'm going to start scrubbing each of them out again. I think I'd left that deepens in there a little bit longer. Yeah, that's some of them, like I was telling you, that 38 stuff leaves a lot of carbon in there, and so I am getting it out now. It's starting to come out pretty good. And now I'm going to run wet patches through each one of the cylinders, and then dry patches. Let me get this stuff off my hands here. This stuff is nasty. I think I was using bullseye powder on this last. Bullseye or Unique, I can't remember which one it was. That was pretty dirty. It shot good. It really shot good. But it's cleaning up really good on its own. You see how shiny it is. And also, I'm going to start with little wet patches going through. I'm probably going to double these patches up right here. Get a little bit of tightness to them. Going through there. There we go. It might be too tight. Let me see if it'll go through there. Yeah, it'll go through. And we'll get in there and scrub each one. On this one, there's 7 of them to go through versus the 686 and the 629. This one's a 7-shot revolver. And let's see, keep going. I didn't want to go through that time. There it goes. Dirty, dirty, dirty. That's a dirty bird. Yeah, I tell you what. Seems like my life's been that way. Dirty like that. And trying to clean it up. Trying to clean my life up a little bit. And we need to make sure, son, that you don't get that dirty. You know, need to I ain't gonna be here to help you raise your kids or do things with them. You need to take the examples that I gave you and not do some of them, okay? And the ones that were good, you mimic those and take them to church, lead them to the Lord, and there's one thing I think I've done really good in your life is spend time with you. So you use that example right there, not my bad stuff, to raise your children with, and it is starting to look pretty. All right, nothing like a pretty Smith and Wesson. Nothing like a pretty Smith and Wesson. Let's see. You got to get in this area here too, okay? And let's see. And there's some areas too. You'd be surprised where the carbon builds up on these. On your ejector, I wish I had something good to point with right here. On some of these grooves right here on your ejector, it will build up on right there. So you got to make sure you get in each one of these little corners right there, just like you got to make sure you get in each one of your little corners of your heart right there, and get clean. Each one of them. So it just takes a little bit of film, and that carbon is coming in from around the case of the bullet too when it fires. Depends on how hot the loads are. I find out some of the factory stuff is some of the dirtiest ammo that we've shot, and that's why I like to reload. I find the powder that burns really clean that's the Hodgdon HS6. You don't get much of a powder charge for a 38 Special now, because that's a pretty fast burning powder. And so our HP 38 is a good powder too, but the Hodgdon's burn really clean. I know that they're the cleanest burning in pistols, but pistols are, they're closed units and all, and they do good. But anyhow, once you get all that clean, which it looks like it's all clean up in there and everything, you don't have to go too crazy. This is really clean enough for me, because I'm going to be out here shooting this thing again. I'm going to lube the yoke again. Lube the inside. Make sure it gets on everything. I'm going to lube that. Alright, slide it back in the yoke. Make sure everything spins free. Let's see. Yeah, that Smith & Wesson is just sweet, man. I'm telling you, it is sweet. Okay. Let's see, did I clean up in that area? Let me do my last little scrub. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, and basically all you do, you probably want to slide your yoke in and lock it. And you go find that screw you set down now, okay? You make sure it's in the right spot. And stick it in there and get a good slotted screwdriver like I told you. Be careful with it. Put it in the groove. Make sure when it goes flush, make sure your screwdriver's not scratching the frame when it goes around. Lock it into place, don't over torque it. It's got that plunger in there, and it looks like that screw's never been removed. So, and then you check it. Goes great. Another quick little wipe down of it. Get all the stuff off. I can show you on your grip. Basically, you take this screw off right here, and you only have to do this about once a year or so. And I'm gonna take this off. And you never know what gets behind there. Some salts and stuff that gets in there, and you basically just slide it right off, and just make sure it's clean. your mainspring, your hammer mainspring right there is clean. This is where another area you'll find your serial number of your gun is in this area. Also up here as well, right in that area, and at your on the bottom of your frame right there. And that's usually just covered up right there. Everything looks good on this one. I'm going to do just a little quick wipe down of it, put a little bit of lubricant, and just because dirt does get behind there. But like I said, you only have to do this about once a year, so it's pretty much sealed through there. But you'll see where some dirts get in there, and so scrub that out. Get over there and scrub that little bit right there. What is that? Get off of there. All right. Clean that up. Then you basically just go right back on it. It's there's a little slot right in there that this right here that pin has to slide through when you take it in there. So that's the way it goes off. And then you just put your screw back in. And you drop everything off the table. Then you have to pick it up again. Alright, son, that's pretty much a clean revolver versus what it was before we started right there. I hope this helps you in the future. Maybe it's just something you can come back and listen to my sweet voice with, I guess, one day. So it's clean. Take care of your weapons. Be safe with them. Handle them safely. The firearms is the safest thing in the world if they're handled safely. Treat them as they're loaded. Keep them clean, maintained, oiled, lubricated, and proper loads. Don't invent loads when you do reload. And teach your kids how to handle these things safely and start them out early, son. You know, you and your sister, we both started both of y'all out at 5 years old of shooting. And so basically what I did, I went and explained everything there was about guns to y'all, demonstrated what the possibility, the potential of happening. You remember that time I carried you out there and there was a rubber floor mat? I told you to stick your finger out, and I told you to try to stick that finger, take it and hit it as hard up against that rubber floor mat and see if you could poke your finger a hole in that. And you hurt your finger. You know, it didn't break your finger or anything. You realized that you couldn't do it, okay? And then you remember I took your little 22 Cricket rifle, I loaded around in it, and I laid that mat on the ground. I said, now, I want you to take this little bitty bullet, which is a lot smaller than your finger, and I want you to pull the trigger. And you shot that. When you saw that bullet go through that mat, and you could take your finger and stick through that mat, you realized the potential danger that these weapons had. I gave you a visual reference. Give that to your kids too. So, son, have a great life. Enjoy shooting and enjoy these weapons. Talk to you later. Bye.